Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, May 6, 2025. We're here this morning for an Administrative Matters meeting, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I call this meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kristen Stevens, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners, and with me are my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally and Commissioner John Kafalis. On the dais to the right of me, we have from the Clerk and Recorder's Office, Deirdre O'Neill. We have our County Manager, Lorinda Volker. We have Tom Clayton from Public Affairs, and we have Sarah Martin from our Board of County Commissioners Office. So we will begin, as we normally do, with public comment. We have a couple people signed up, and then we'll open it up to the rest of the group. So first we have Bruce Huey.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome, Bruce.
Thank you.
As the clock says, you'll have 3 minutes to speak, and we'll have you introduce yourself.
My name is Bruce Huey. I am the president of the Fire Board for Livermore Fire Protection District. As you know, we are in the process of building a new station up in the Red Mountain area on an acre of land leased to us by Strata for 99 years on the Maxwell Ranch. In regard to that, in a number of years ago when we put the addition on Station 1, the commissioners were kind enough to waive our permitting fees. We once again would like, if you would consider waiving the permitting fees for this new addition. And with respect to that, I also have a more formal request from myself and the fire chief. Should I give that to the clerk or one?
Yeah, you can give that to the clerk.
Okay.
And we'll definitely read that.
Thank you for consideration.
You're welcome. Anything further, Bruce? You have a couple minutes, or you just?
Well, I don't know if you're aware that we cover an area of over 300 square miles, and this station will literally cut down our response times to Virginia Dale and responding to numerous collisions on 287. We cover it from Haystack Rock all the way to the Wyoming border. So this station is needed. We have raised funds. We also have a commitment from a local bank for a short-term loan to get the station done. And we hope to have the documents submitted for permitting in the next week or two.
Wonderful.
So whatever you can do, we thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Thanks for being here. We'll take a look at your letter. So the next speaker is Cindy Buckhart. Cindy?
Cindy Buckhart. My husband and I started our business in 2005 here in Larimer County. We purchased our current facility in 2020. Last week we paid $36,000 in property taxes. Timing is everything, as not 2 days later we get the new evaluation for the property. The evaluation more than doubles the current evaluation. Can you imagine what that will mean to our property tax if we just paid $36,000? Do you have any idea what that does to a small business owner? Why is it that because you own property deemed commercial that it means you are making tons of money? Our business is myself, my husband, and our 2 sons. We are huge community supporters, and it's getting harder and harder to support our community when all our funds go to property taxes. It is hard to grasp such exuberant amounts of property taxes when I watch the ranch take away a perfectly good entrance road that led to the McKee building and replace it with a dirt winding road that is not always accessible. The Great Lawn expansion, at what cost? An evaluated premium lounge to create an upscale guest experience and general additional sponsorship revenue? Are these sponsors contracted? And what is the revenue going to be? Will it cover the cost of the upgrade? I'd like to see the market research that shows a strong demand for a state-of-the-art convention center when there is one right next door. Has a hotel partner been obtained that is going to bring an estimated $5.7 million annually? Is your goal as county commissioners to establish Larimer County as a national player in the convention and hospitality industry? Converting the Peterson Toyota Center into a 3-rink hockey facility? Why? I would like to know how many youth this will serve versus the number of 4-H youth that are currently being served at the ranch and will now be displaced with the construction. Why in the world does Northern Colorado need 6 hockey rinks? It is very apparent that Martin Lind is building an arena and 2 youth rinks nearby, so why is Larimer County spending funds on this project and in the process removing 4-H? Right now, the Larimer County 4-H shooting sports are being removed from the McKee building, and where are they to go? Outdoors? Going outdoors eliminates their ability to practice until the weather cooperates. Is 4-H being removed bit by bit so other events that pay can utilize the building? The Thomas McKee 4-H Youth and Community Building is designated 4-H first and is to take precedence of all event bookings. Is this really happening? It is disappointing to go to the ranch website and click on master plan, but there are no cost estimates on the phases for the taxpayer, such as myself, to know what the costs are. Is my tax money going toward the hiring of a civil infrastructure firm so they can participate in design meetings, provide cost data, actively solicit subcontractor bidding, selection, and management? Are taxpayer funds going to the hiring of an assistant for the ranch director so he can focus on the next 3 years of construction? These are costs that are not even considered in the actual construction. This is not how I wish for my tax money to go. I want my tax money to go to enhancing the 4-H programs of Larimer County.
Thank you, Cindy. Are there any other folks in the audience that want to give public comment? I don't see anyone. Sarah, was there anyone on the phone who wanted to give public comment?
No, Commissioner.
Okay, we will end public comment, bring it back to the commissioners. Do any commissioners want to respond? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
First, I wish the gentleman had stayed. I appreciate the Livermore Fire Department coming and talking with us, and I'm sure staff will get us connected appropriately. And it's really great news to hear that we'll have some more coverage for that area since it's such a large area. So I look forward to continuing conversations with them. And of course, everyone knows I'm supportive of all things firefighters and wildfire. I would like to just address, we have not raised the mill levy for property taxes in Larimer County since 1992. And home prices, evaluations and home prices going up or commercial prices going up are the markets, and we don't control that. We have several sales tax that fund the ranch and open space and other things, behavioral health. And that ballot language is very specific about how that money is spent, and those are dedicated to those areas, and those funds cannot commingle. So we follow the ballot language and the master plans that are connected with that, and so we follow those to the letter of the law, and are very good stewards of taxpayer money with all those funds, and we have a very transparent and accountable process to do that. And we are not. I don't believe, I have not heard of anything of 4-H being removed or not being fully supported at the ranch and through Larimer County. And as a board, I know we are fully on board and supportive of all 4-H, all things 4-H. So I just want to say that publicly. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cafalas, any other comments? Go ahead, please.
Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, folks, for being here. Regarding the first commenter, Bruce Huey, the matter of the fire station that it's up on the Red Feather or the Red Mountain Road, that matter was brought to our attention months ago, and the issue of waiving permitting fees. So we'll need to follow up with that. I hadn't heard back from folks, and I thought they had worked through some of that. So we'll follow up accordingly and see what the county can do to help support their effort to build that additional fire station. The other thing I would mention with regard to Bruce's comments, something that's a bit of good news, and that is a year ago we were up in the Livermore community, and we also brought the CDOT, the Colorado Department of Transportation, who discussed their Highway 287 safety plan. And one bit of good news is that as of June, they will begin working on the intersection safety improvements at the intersection of Owl Canyon Road and Highway 287, restriping, possibly some signage and a variety of other things. And that's one of the key things that folks talked about, that needed to be improved. So I wanted to share that. Regarding Cindy's comments, I encourage you, of course, and you know this, notices of evaluation. We got ours for our residential property. It was a bit of a sticker shock, and I encourage folks to appeal the evaluation if they wish to, and that's with the assessor's office. And I believe folks have until June 9th to do that appeal. And regard to the ranch and 4-H, it is my opinion that our support for 4-H clubs and 4-H activities is unwavering. I know we probably that's, we have difference of opinion there, but I think we continue to support 4-H and our ranch master plan moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll just say that, yeah, thank you to Bruce, who came, the president of Livermore Fire. We'll certainly entertain the idea of waiving permitting fees. We'll speak with our planning folks about the possibility of that. With regard to what Cindy said, as John said, and for everyone who wants to protest, that protest period is through June 9th, and they have desks set up already, so they're ready to take people who are wanting to protest. There again, that's the market dictates those evaluations, and so we don't have anything to do with that at the county commissioner level. I also want to say that I understand that there may be concerns about the master plan for the ranch going forward, but one of the things I will say is that what we're trying to do is not rely on that tax forever. So we don't necessarily know that we want to renew that tax and burden the taxpayers. We have other needs in the community that we may want to ask for. And so really the idea with the master plan is to create a area or a facility where we can, we are not dependent on those tax dollars, so that's a self-sufficient run. The ranch is self-sufficient, and they don't have to rely on tax dollars. And to do that, we have to really make it so that events will come, and that's how we'll get those dollars, is by having events at that center. So, I think that's all in the vein of helping 4-H, honestly, because the paying entities help the non-paying entity like 4-H take care of those facilities. Not 4-H. Thank goodness, but 4-H costs. The fees for 4-H kids are $50 a year. Now they're more for if you have other projects and different kinds of projects, but that doesn't cover the facilities at the ranch. And so really to have these other amenities at the ranch, like the ice, will really help pay for some of the events that don't pay to keep up the facilities at the ranch. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that it's not like we want to create this wonderland, and we have done stakeholding. So the idea of the ice, that's very needed. We've really talked to community members and people who are using ice and don't have enough, there's not enough ice sheets for practice for all the young people and adults who are in hockey programs. So it's been thought out carefully. We don't have costs yet, that's correct. But we are doing our due diligence. And like I said, the idea is self-sufficiency. So wanted to clear that up. We will move on to our next agenda item. That's approval of the minutes. I'll ask Commissioner Kafalis to approve those minutes, or to make the motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the minutes for the week of April 21st, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes 3-0. We'll go to Sarah for the upcoming schedule review.
This is the Commissioner's schedule for May 12th through the 17th. On Monday, May 12th, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 24-6402-4B. Conference with an attorney to discuss the current legal status of all state and federal court cases where Larimer County is a party. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources, in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the second floor. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., there will be land use items with the Development Review Team. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be in the hearing room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. On Tuesday, May 13th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 12:30 p.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioner Stevens will attend the Office on Aging Resource Fair and Community Awards event at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Environmental and Science Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be in the Carter Lake Conference Room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. From 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens will speak at the Northern Colorado Chapter of National Organization for Women meeting at the Fort Collins Senior Center at 1200 Raintree Drive in Fort Collins. On Wednesday, May 14th from 7:45 a.m. to 9 a.m., Commissioner Kafalas may attend the Poudre School District/County/City of Fort Collins Liaisons meeting at the Johansson Support Services Center in the boardroom at 2407 LaPorte Avenue in Fort Collins. From 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Kafalas may attend the Workforce Development Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be in the hearing room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. From 10:40 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the NOCO Foundation Water Literate Leaders Program class at 4745 Wheaton Drive in Fort Collins. From 1 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalas will attend the Agricultural Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at the Larimer County Extension Office at 1525 Blue Spruce Drive in Fort Collins or virtually via Zoom. From 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., Commissioners Kafalas will attend the 2025 Poudre Fire Authority and UC Health Emergency Medical Services Survivors event at the Drake Center at 802 West Drake Road in Fort Collins. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., there will be a Commissioners/Planning Commission work session. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be in the Carter Lake Conference Room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. On Thursday, May 15th from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Kafalas may attend the Housing Catalyst Board of Commissioners meeting. It is an in-person meeting at 1715 West Mountain Avenue in Fort Collins or virtually via Boardable. From 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalas may participate in the virtual Medicaid System of Care Implementation Advisory Committee meeting. From 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioner Stevens will attend the NOCO Foundation President's Lunch and Learn event at 4745 Wheaton Drive in Fort Collins. From 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization Finance Committee meeting. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Kafalas will attend the Board of Health meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 1525 Blue Spruce Drive in Fort Collins or virtually via Zoom. On Friday, May 16th from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., Commissioner Kafalas may participate in the virtual Northern Colorado Partners meeting. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioners Kafalas and Stevens may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together meeting. On Saturday, May 17th, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Stevens will host the Larimer County Farmers Market Story Time at 200 West Oak Street, Fort Collins.
Thank you. Sarah, any corrections or additions to your calendars? Commissioner Kafalas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks, Sarah. I just want to add my name to the Tuesday, May 13th, the Office on Aging Resource Fair and Community Awards event at the ranch. I'd like to participate in that, at least parts of it. And also, offline, just to get clarification, on the 8:30 to 10:30, Friday, May 16th, the Northern Colorado Partners meeting. I'm not quite sure what you mean there, but we can talk offline.
Go ahead, Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
I just wanted to just comment publicly. I am not on the schedule a lot because next week I'm going to go off and celebrate my child's college graduation, and just taking some time to celebrate my children moving on to graduate schools and stuff. So I'm very sad to be missing for the first time since 2016 the Older Americans Month celebration. I haven't missed that one day since 1 year, so I really want to just make sure folks know I'm bummed to miss that and some other things, but I'll be very excited to focus on my family for a couple of days. So thanks. Just wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. We wish you all the best with your family. Sarah, I just have one thing to add. On Thursday, May 15th, from 1 to 2 p.m., I'll be at the National Association of Counties Resilient Counties Advisory Board meeting. I think that just got scheduled, so thank you. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. It's a pretty short consent agenda, which everybody will be grateful for. We have, first on the agenda, we have 19 petitions for abatement or refund of taxes. I won't go through those, but if you want more information, that's a municipal law enforcement agreement and service agreement by and between Larimer County and the town of Timnath. This is for law enforcement services in the town of Timnath, 27, and the total dollar amount is $400,000. Our third agreement is for jail services with the town of Timnath. This allows for the holding of municipal sentenced and pre-sentence offenders from the town of Timnath, and the dollar amount is $216.77 per inmate per day, and that contract runs through December 31st of 2025. We have 2 public improvement district overlay bids for public improvement districts across the county with the engineering department. The first one is for a total of approximately $1.4 million. The second is for $928,000. We have a modification of the U.S. Forest Service grant agreement. This amends the grant agreement from the original for amounts to be reimbursed by the U.S. Forest Service for work performed for the reconstruction of the Sheep Creek Culvert crossing on County Road 44H. And then finally, we have a bid for construction service agreement. This is a request for approval of sidewalks on Highway 287 and 57th Street. And the total dollar amount is approximately $1.3 million. We have one appointment. That's a reappointment to our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Board for Fred Garcia, and his new term will end June 30th, 2028. We have 5 liquor licenses. We have one for Colony Markets, which is Overland Foods in LaPorte. That's a fermented malt beverage and wine license. We have a special event liquor permit, 6%, for the Quad Rock 25/50 mile races. Fort Collins Running Club, special event liquor permit for 6%. If you do that, it sounds like you'll get a beer. You got to run at least 25 miles to do that. So liquor license renewal for Rigby's Roadhouse in Livermore, Colorado. It's a hotel and restaurant. Liquor license renewal for Wedgwood Wedding and Banquet Center in LaPorte, and that's a tavern license. And then a liquor license renewal for Sandy's Convenience Store in Loveland, Colorado, and that's a tavern license. We have 12 miscellaneous items. The first is Larimer County legislative positions. As we've said numerous times, our legislative positions on bills will be accepted at this meeting and published on the Secretary of State's website. So, and also on our website. So if you want to see our positions on any bills, this is, I believe, the last day of the legislative session. Is it? Oh, tomorrow is the last day. All right, we got one more day that we're gonna scramble and add these final legislative positions, but we probably won't see this item on future consent agendas for a while. And then we have 9 stipulations as to tax year 2024 value and 2 stipulations as to tax year 2023 value. If you want more information, that's available on our website. And finally, resolutions. We have 3 resolutions. One is for findings and resolutions approving the Stonewall Estates subdivision preliminary plat, and the public hearing for this item was April 21st, 2025. We have findings and resolutions approving the Halligan Water Supply Project 1041 permit. The public hearing for this item was held on February 19th, 2025. And the last resolution approves the 3rd certification to the Larimer County Treasurer of zoning violation penalties as a special assessment. So this is a property that is a problem property that is incurring penalties until they fix the problems on their property. And so this will be pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 3028-124.5. So that is all for the consent agenda. Would either commissioner want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Seeing no's on both sides, I will ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Certainly, Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda for May 6, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on any of these items? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. And now the moment people have actually been waiting for, although the consent agenda is pretty exciting. We have our discussion items, and our first discussion item is a proclamation recognizing May 2025 as Asian Pacific Islander Desi Heritage Month. And I don't know, it was submitted by Lori, but Lorinda, did you want to give some context to this?
Sure, I'd be happy to introduce it. So you all recognize our community members in this way very often. This one is specifically recognizing folks who are in our community from the Pacific Islands and from the entire continent of Asia, including South Asia. We hope this proclamation and these kind of proclamations help to honor the culture and contributions that these groups make to our community. They're very valuable and make our community very special. We know that they operate small businesses, they provide public service, they serve our community in many, many ways, like many of us do, and it's important to recognize all groups of people who add to the tapestry of our community. Our EDI board has reviewed this proclamation as they do, and they've made a few edits and suggestions, and so what's before you today has been looked at by that advisory committee as well.
Thank you. I wonder if anyone has any guests here for this proclamation. Not today. Okay, then I will ask Commissioner Kafalis to read through the proclamation and make the motion for this item.
Thank you. Proclamation, Asian Pacific Islander Desi American Heritage Month. Whereas recognition of Asian Pacific Islander Desi American Heritage Month began in 1977 to support the history and accomplishments of APIDA people in the U.S. The APIDA population consists of the entire Asian continent, including South Asia, as the Desi population and the Pacific Islands. And whereas the month of May was selected to honor a Japanese immigrant as an initial U.S. citizen on May 7th, 1843, and to recognize the anniversary of the finale of the original Transcontinental Railroad on May 10th, 1869, primarily built by Chinese immigrants, and whereas the U.S. Census Bureau approximates the APIDA population in the United States to be greater than 20 million people at 6.2% of the population. Locally, the APIDA population in Larimer County constitutes more than 7,800 or 2.21% of the total population. And whereas the APIDA community has a long history of active participation in Larimer County, including as teachers, doctors, business owners, restaurant workers, artists, colleagues, family, and friends, thus enormously contributing to the health, growth, and well-being of our community. And whereas unequal structural and systemic discrimination exists against APIDA people, including violent riots against South and East Asians in 1907, Japanese internment camps during World War II, including Camp Amachi in Colorado with over 7,000 detainees, Desi Americans experiencing more government inspections and monitoring when boarding planes or applying for immigration as of 2001, the persecution of South Asian Americans post 9/11, an increase in hate crimes against APIDA people since the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas the APIDA community has risen above cultural obstacles, language barriers, discrimination, and violence, these Americans still experience intensified fear and deprivation. Thus, we ask Larimer County community members to rebuke hate based on race, religion, or ethnicity, and honor the hard work, perseverance, and dynamic culture of the APIDA community. We recognize the significance of inclusion and strive to create an amicable and safe climate for all Larimer County residents. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County, Colorado, that the month of May 2025 be recognized as Asian American Pacific Islander Desi Heritage Month in Larimer County, and Larimer County welcomes community members to participate in the schedule of activities to acknowledge and celebrate the contributions of APIDAs to our lives throughout our county, state, and nation. Dated this day, the 6th day of May 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner. Would you like to make comments before we make the motion, or would you like to make the motion
Just
first?
very briefly,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think the proclamation speaks for itself. I'm just grateful as an elected body we can take the time to honor all the different parts of our community. We stand resolute regarding matters of inclusion and respect for all members of our community. So I'm just grateful that we can do this, and I think it's very important.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I appreciate this proclamation. It was actually brought to us first by the Heart and Soul of Loveland. When it first started, was again one of the first proclamations we had done this as a board. We brought this forward, and I was wearing their shirt that I bought at their event, and we've been sponsoring that event. They have some events throughout the whole month, and I encourage you to go and check those out. They do things, there's activities and artwork and painting and celebrations. And I was looking at I'm not an artist, but somehow they had an event where you could learn to paint koi, and it actually looks so cool. I put it up in my bathroom. So it's just some activities and be able to go join the, excuse me, events. And I had a lot of folks, when I wore my shirt on Sunday, was like, oh, I forgot that was happening this month. And then they had made some comments. And that includes my niece and nephew, who are, Desi American. And we had a good conversation, my niece and nephew, over the weekend about what it's been like for them, growing up in high school and stuff, and some of the fears and stuff they have, that they've experienced in high school, and then also in postgraduate work for my niece, and that she's just finishing up right now. And so I think when I told them we were going to read this proclamation today, of course they couldn't be here today, but they said, wow, I didn't know that, this proclamations and people talked about these things. So it was a great opportunity to share with them that I don't think they knew that they love me as their aunt, but I love them as my family, but that I recognize and support kind of the things that they do. I think it's really important that we take this time and recognize and celebrate all diverse histories. Some of those histories are not as, with the Campamache recognition, some of those histories are not as positive as we hope, but we need to recognize and share and learn from all those histories and recognize them, and not shy away from some of the things that maybe we need to do better. And I think doing these proclamations and recognizing these months and celebrating diverse cultures and contributions of the Asian Pacific Islander and Desi American communities, that all of these are part of the big Larimer County family, and we're a united and diverse and very beautiful, vibrant community that has a wonderful, beautiful tapestry of all different folks from different backgrounds and histories and cultures. And I think that's what makes this place so special. So I'm glad that we take this moment to read these and to celebrate everyone in our community, because everyone is welcome here and belongs here in Larimer County. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, I agree. This is really important to acknowledge both the contributions and the discrimination that people still face in our community. I have two kids that are Desi American. For folks who don't know what Desi is, it's for people from the Indian subcontinent. So that includes Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. And so, there is discrimination, and there was a great deal of discrimination during COVID. And so we want to bring that to people's attention, know that we can do better, that we need to do better, that we need to acknowledge all the people that live in our community and the contributions that they make, and fight hate when we see it. So this proclamation helps us do that, and really thankful to the Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Board who helped us craft this and get the language right on this. So With that, Commissioner Koufalis, I'll ask you to make the motion for this proclamation.
Yes, I move to approve the proclamation declaring May 2025 as Asian Pacific Islander Desi Heritage Month.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes 3-0. We are on to our next proclamation. This was submitted by Amy Martonis, our Behavioral Health Services Director. We'll ask Amy to come up, and if there are people in the audience that also want to speak to this item, we'd be happy to hear from them.
Great,
Welcome.
thank you. Good morning, commissioners, colleagues, and community members. I'm honored to be here with you this morning. I'm Amy Martonis, the Director of Behavioral Health Services, and I'm here to recognize May as Mental Health Awareness Month. With me are several municipal leaders, members of our advisory groups, and other esteemed colleagues and partners supporting this work. Mental health touches every one of us, our families, our neighbors, our colleagues across our community. There are certainly challenges in supporting well-being, and our progress in this work is also strong as a community. In Larimer County, we care about each other, and we're seeing the positive impacts of the investment of our community's behavioral health sales tax dollars. With that said, we recognize there are still barriers that people face in accessing support. We continue to respond with strategic investments, strengthening our partnerships, and a shared commitment to building a system that truly meets people where they are. We envision a community where everyone can access the right type of care at the right time. This proclamation is a celebration of the work and an ongoing call to action to ensure mental health is prioritized, resources are accessible, and every person in Larimer County feels seen, supported, and valued. Thank you for your continued partnership in supporting this important work. At this time, I'd like to invite Mayor Arndt forward to say a few words as well.
Gosh, this is getting to be a regular thing.
Yeah, welcome, Mayor
I'm
Arndt.
back.
It's great to see you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. Thank you for doing a proclamation for this. I'm glad to join you as representative of Fort Collins City Council, and it's such a pleasure to partner with fellow electeds in a like-minded way, appreciating everybody in our community this way. And thank you for the work you do through the county, because obviously you guys do mostly the social service support. So we're very, very grateful for your work and your support of this. On a personal note, I had a profession before I did all these other things, and I was a special ed teacher, mostly with students of behavior and emotional disorders. So some reason in America we've decided to separate mental health from the rest of your body. I think that's the wrong way to go, because it is all part of a whole being and a whole community. And when we treat everyone's health as important, no matter what type of health it is, dental, mental, body, whatever, we can build stronger communities and make more connections. And I appreciate you recognize this, and thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you, Mayor Arndt. Is there anyone else? I know there's a audience full of people who are service providers in this area, and directors and managers. No one else wants to speak, I suppose. I mean, you're welcome to. We would love to hear from you if you'd like to speak.
We appreciate all the support that's here today in recognizing Mental Health Awareness Month. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Any questions for Amy before we move on to the proclamation?
I think it's Jody.
Oh, Commissioner Shattuck McNally?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. All right. Did you have any questions, Commissioner, before?
Some comments at the appropriate
Okay.
time.
All right. Perfect. Well, we'll let Commissioner Shattuck McNally read that proclamation then.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to read this proclamation. It means so much to me. As you all know, my deep and heartfelt passion and investment into this work. And thank you all for being in the audience today. It's great to see some wonderful faces, and you all are in my heart for the work you do on a daily basis. I hope you all know that. So, and thank you for being here today. So this is the 2025 Mental Health Awareness Month proclamation. Whereas mental illnesses are common in the United States and across the world, they do not discriminate based on one's age, income, education, religion, race, or place of residence. And whereas mental illnesses are prevalent among adults, 23% of the U.S. adult population, young adults, 36.2% of people ages 18 to 25 in the U.S., and adolescents, 49.5% of people's age 13 to 18 in the U.S., which is a stunning and very frightening number. Sorry for that. That's not in the proclamation. That's my editorial. I apologize. Tens of thousands of Larimer County residents have reported poor mental health and inability to access needed behavioral health care in the past community surveys. And whereas barriers to behavioral health care in the Larimer County are identified as the cost of care, timely access to providers in our community, stigma around seeking help, transportation issues, and a lack of insurance coverage for services. And whereas access to necessary medication, appropriate treatment, care coordination, and responsive peer support help prevent individuals from populating emergency rooms and jails, which are often the default locations for people with acute mental health and substance use needs. And whereas we envision that Larimer County becomes a community where people are empowered and supported in accessing a full range of behavioral health services that promote well-being for all. And whereas in recent years, Larimer County saw declines in the rates of suicide and overdoses, these numbers represent people. They're not just numbers, they're people, and every person's life matters. This is cause for celebration, but also a reminder that the success in this work is qualitative, and quantitative. Now, therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners, proclaim May as Mental Health Awareness Month, recognizing that mental health is a fundamental component of overall well-being and essential to living a healthy and productive life full of joy, dignity, and purpose. Dated this 6th day of May, 2025. And Madam Chair, I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Sure.
I move to approve the proclamation declaring May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month.
Thank you. So we'll open to comments now. I'll let you start, Commissioner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm trying not to get emotional. This means a lot to me every time I've got my green on. It's the symbol of Mental Health Awareness Month. I got to attend a lot of events the last few days. Thank you to folks in the audience, Alliance and Prevention and Behavioral Health Services, and all the folks that helped put the teen mental health health fair care together. It was great to go see that, and thanks for accessing to Loveland and other parts of the county. There's a lot of great things happening throughout our county. I got to ride along with some of the co-responder programs and got to see great folks on the ground doing great work, and we are so fortunate, and thank you to the voters of Larimer County that we've been able to we're taxing ourselves to take care of our community and others, and it's such important work, and there's such good progress, and a lot of the folks in this room, you are responsible, all of us working together, responsible for that progress. More work to be done. Talking to some youth and some older adults over the weekend and the last 2 weeks have shown up at some of my events. Just a lot of people struggling still with feeling safe and heard and worried. And so I just encourage them to reach out and to friends and to call lines and to look at long view and reaching out and making sure they're not feeling isolated and alone, because really we're not alone. You're not alone, and seeking help is a sign of strength, and I thank them all for their strength to talk about it. And really it is a sign of strength and awareness. It's not weakness to seek and encourage yourself for self-care, and that it's okay to ask for help or to recognize that maybe you're having a bad day, because we all have bad days. And mental health and behavioral health it's really not a destination. It's a journey. It's a process. And it's not about how you drive as you go on this journey, but where you're going, which is to always take care of yourself and to be overall an evolving person who's always looking to do better and take care of yourselves and take care of those around you. Because if you're not doing well yourself, you can't help those around you. And just wanted to just thank the folks here today for coming, and Amy and her team, the great work you're doing, and our partners at Summit Stone Health Partners. All this, doing this together is a team effort, and we all need to take care of each other as we continue to do this work and take care of our community. And I'm really proud and very heartfelt gratitude to you all for the things you do to keep us together, so no one has to feel like they're alone or feel that pain. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kafalis?
Sure. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to express my heartfelt appreciation. I appreciate that Mayor Arndt took time out to come over to our building, and I certainly want to echo her comments that somewhere along the line we determined that one's mental and emotional health is separate from one's spiritual, physical health, and so I think that with all of the collaborative work that we're doing regionally and at the county level, we're putting that back together the way it ought to be. So I appreciate taking the time. I also want to acknowledge it looks like we have, at least I see one person, Rachel, from the Technical Advisory Committee. I believe there are a couple of folks from the Consumer Advisory Committee, and we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge we have at least 3 folks from Summit Stone Health Partners. The rather sometimes shy medical director is back there. The newly official CEO of Summit Stone Health Partners is also present, and I think Cassie and a bunch of other folks. So it's amazing. Reminder. Oh, and of course our behavioral health services director, Amy. Since you've come on board, it's been great. You've all done some great work, Madeline and everybody else. So thank you. Just as a reminder that the voters approved the sales tax initiative. That money is 0.25%, 25 cents on $100, and it's an investment in our community. And I think it's been a game changer in terms of the progress we've made in reducing suicides and suicide ideations and a variety of other things. So a testament to our community. And despite all the uncertainties and interesting challenges that we're all facing these days, it's good to know that we have some level of being grounded locally, regionally, to solve problems and to try to support people to be as healthy and as they can be. So thank you, Amy. Thank you, all the folks that are here. Thanks, Jenny or Mayor Arndt. You should come over to our building more often. I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner. No, I want to echo my gratitude. First of all, thank you for your leadership, Amy. It's been remarkable, and we really appreciate you. There are, as Commissioner Cavallos was saying, there are multiple leaders in the audience, and we thank you all for being here. And it just really highlights the collaboration that needs to be done in this kind of work. And so, Longview clearly a critical facility for us. Really a beacon, I think, for people in our community. Yet we know that behavioral health services and mental health services exist throughout the community, which is good. So we have both a dispersed model and this center where people can go. I know that people in a lot of counties are envious of us, and I wish this for them as well, because we really need to work on this as a state and as a nation. It is there. As Commissioner Shattuck McNally read in the proclamation, this has gotten to epic proportions, and it's there certainly are some societal changes we need to make on our end. Besides, managing the behavioral health service dollars, I think it's really incumbent on us to make sure that we work on things that exacerbate these kind of mental health situations. And I'm thinking about things like housing and affordability in our community. Those are stressors that we can help with as elected officials, and that certainly aren't always, when we get to the root of some of this, it's a despair that people feel about living in a modern world that doesn't always make sense to many of us anymore. And so mental health affects all of us, whether it's family members or ourselves. And so really just kind of digging deep and continuing to do the work is so important. And I'm glad we acknowledged it this month. But it's certainly, it's good to take time to celebrate our accomplishments and know that there's so much more work that we need to be done. And it's not just on you folks in the audience, it's really on all of us. So thank you all for being here. And we have a motion on the table, right? Did we?
But perhaps our county manager wishes to add some
Yes. Thank you, Commissioner. County Manager Volker, can you share a few words with us, please?
Sure, thank you. There's not much left to be said. I think what the mayor said is exactly right. Mental and physical health are not separated, and I think our community recognizes that and trusted us with the sales tax to support that effort. But that sales tax is just enough funding for the tip of the iceberg. There's so many more needs across the community, and I hope that folks understand this Longview Center and our efforts are not the end-all be-all. We do have a vast network of partners who provide services outside of the funding through the sales tax, and we do appreciate them as well. And we know they all want to recognize Mental Health Awareness Month to reduce stigma and support folks in our community who have that need, whether it's long-term ongoing or whether it's short-term incidental. We know that that facility is there, and we have a great partner in Summit Stone in providing those services. We really value that relationship. We value our technical advisory committee and certainly our consumer advisory committee, who tells us what the community needs and what would help them personally. And I see a lot of staff out in the audience. Thank you for the work you do. It is a very small staff, and they get a lot of bang for their buck out in the community. Talk about a force magnifier. You all are really great at that, and thank you.
I think Commissioner Shattuck McNally wants to share one more thing, and then we'll go to vote.
Yeah, someone's gonna not like this, but we recognize the technical consumer, but we also have the Behavioral Health Policy Council, which is all of our electeds, and we have had a really robust attendance where we have folks from Tinmouth and Johnstown and Windsor, or Wellington and Windsor and Loveland all coming, and I appreciate a lot of them are the mayors, and the Estes Park mayor. I forgot that he was supposed to. He was coming down today, but he wanted me to at least acknowledge that he wanted to be here and that he's highly supportive of the work of the frontline medical professionals and the staff at Longview and the grant programs and the Behavioral Health Policy Council. And he said he wanted to thank me, but that he just wanted to say how important it is and improves the pathways for those in need. And he just wanted me to offer that statement because he wanted to be here today. Also, our Policy Council is really important because the technical and advisory report up to the Behavioral Health Policy Council, which I chair, and it's really important work. And we've been working really hard in some great conversations. And thank you, Amy, with your leadership with that. As we're taking it in a really innovative, great direction. Also, the Regional Opioid Abatement Council is really important work that overlaps with this. Being the vice chair and having that abatement money, we have done a lot of great work. We're actually Colorado, and our region is considered a national exemplar, even through Johns Hopkins. And I wanted to make sure we recognize that because that's a part of this as well. And I wanted to acknowledge Beth Yonts from City of Fort Collins, who sits on, she's our secretary, and she sits by me, and it's been just amazing to work with you over the last 3 years. We've done a lot of great work through that, and it overlaps with this. And you have been just a amazing partner and great advocate. And as I understand, it's very sad you'll be leaving us. And I want to acknowledge your long-term dedicated public service to this community and to Fort Collins. And I just want to publicly say how much I'm going to miss you. So I hope we still stay in touch. But thank you for all that you've done for that council and to help us with that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. We are going to pause for a photo opportunity, and we will be right back. Thank you. All right, we are back, and we have one more proclamation this morning. That's to proclaim May as Older Americans Month. And it looks like we have Katie Stieber with us, and she will introduce
Coming up?
this item.
All right.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't get my cohort to come up.
That's all right. That's all right.
I feel like the party also just left, so bear with us.
You are the party, Katie. You'll bring it.
Yes,
We're
relax.
confident.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Katie Stieber. I am the Deputy Division Manager of Aging and Adult Services in Human Services. So, and I am joined here by Nicole Amo. She's our Program Coordinator for the Office on Aging. Every May, the Administration of Community Living leads the nation's observance of Older Americans Month, a time to recognize older Americans' contributions, highlight aging trends, and reaffirm our commitment to serving older adults. As part of the celebration of this year's Older Americans Month, the Office on Aging, along with the Advisory Council, is hosting the annual Older Americans Month Award and our second annual fair on May the 13th. Please attend. We will honor an outstanding family caregiver and this year 2 outstanding senior volunteers. It is a time to celebrate as we share the stories of these amazing older adults here in Larimer County. This year's theme for Older Americans Month is Flip the Script on Aging, which focuses on transforming how society perceives, talks about, and approaches aging. It encourages individuals and communities to challenge stereotypes and dispel misconceptions. So how do we flip the script? By sharing stories that show aging is an opportunity, not a limitation. Whether it's pursuing a passion, giving back to the community, or redefining expectations. Learning does not stop, as we know that those over 60 are among the fastest growing population of online learners. And so let's celebrate that aspect. And we also know that physical activity is extremely important. Whether it's yoga, dancing, hiking, or daily walks, movement is important. This year and into the future, let's challenge the idea that aging means slowing down. Join us in honoring older adults' contributions by exploring many opportunities for staying active and engaged as we age and highlighting the opportunities for purpose, exploration, and connection that comes with aging. As we celebrate Older Americans Month, let us do so by honoring the extraordinary contributions of older adults. Let's shine a light on the powerful trends shaping aging today and renewing our deep commitment to serving those who have paved the way before us. Thank you so much to our county manager for being here, and commissioners, we really appreciate you showing us some recognition today.
Thank you, Katie. Any questions for Katie before we go on with the proclamation? Or comments?
Yeah,
Sure, please go
thank
ahead.
you. Well, just regarding the event at the ranch coming up, offline it would be helpful to know it's a 4-hour block, and I think in the past, if you could provide insights into when is the award portion of
We
it, or
will
if
send
there's,
information over. It's 2
of
o'clock.
course.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
2 o'clock is the awards portion of the event.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. We are looking forward to that.
Yes.
So I will have Commissioner Kafalis read the proclamation, and then we will make some comments and make a motion.
Okay, here goes. Older Americans Month 2025, a proclamation, whereas Larimer County includes a growing number of older Americans who have built resilience and strength over their lives through successes and difficulties, and whereas Larimer County benefits when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds are included and encouraged to share their successes and stories of resilience. And whereas Larimer County recognizes our need to nurture ourselves, reinforce our strength, and continue to thrive in times of both joy and difficulty. And whereas Larimer County can foster communities of strength by creating opportunities to share stories and learn from each other, engaging older adults through education, recreation, and service, and encouraging people of all ages to celebrate connections and resilience. Now, therefore, we Now, therefore, we of Larimer County do hereby proclaim May 2025 to be Older Americans Month. We urge every resident to recognize older adults and the people who support them as essential contributors to the strength of our community, dated this 6th day, May of 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any comments before we?
Just that as one who is a member of this subgroup and who agrees with the notion that we shouldn't consider aging as as a sort of a downward slide, and it's actually just a different chapter in one's life, and with opportunities to try to be healthy. We spoke about the importance of mental health and emotional health and spiritual health. All of those things come together to help us carry on the journey, continue the work, continue to connect with friends and family. I appreciate that there was an acknowledgement of caretakers. Increasingly, a lot of folks are helping to take care of their elder parents, grandparents, and others. So I think that's really important. It's important to acknowledge that because they contribute economically and otherwise, and often are not acknowledged. Although I appreciate that within our Office on Aging, we have a lot of good support for caretakers and respite care and all of those kinds of things. I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Katie and Nicole, for being here today. This has been something that being serving on the Office on Aging Advisory Council and then becoming commissioner, it's been an area of passion of mine because I was a caregiver for my grandma and then my dad and helping and my parents and now my mom is struggling. So I understand about caregiving and the things being really hard is you're taking care of your kids as they're growing up and then also trying to take some of your older adults and making sure they have really quality of life. And it's important for us to recognize that there's a lot of contributions, and I'm really grateful that we have this since, as long as, like I said, I've been going since 2016, this awards ceremony and recognizing those folks. And Nicole and I were interviewing for the Office on Aging Advisory Council. Yesterday, we have a lot more to do. I think there's 17 interviews I'm dragging you through. But it's important to listen to those stories, and I really appreciate the interviews because we talked to a caregiver who had been a caregiver for her beloved husband and taken him through dementia and Alzheimer's, and she is now back and ready to get in the community. And every single person in all those interviews are newly retired or been retired and want to just do something to help their community, give back, and they all have amazing skills, whether they're a CSU professor emeritus or a former business executive, all these skills and perspectives and just wanting to give back and make their community better, and also support peers and other families who might be going through what they went through taking care of loved one as a caregiver. And I just have to say it, our older adults in our community just do so much in helping us. Studies estimate the value of unpaid caregiving is over $1 trillion annually. $1 trillion annually. And it's really potential important work in helping their loved ones have, quality of life. And I'm thinking about some of our big nonprofits like Kids Pack and a lot of those folks. Those are all older adults who run those nonprofits feeding children who are hungry so they don't go hungry. And they, I'll call them out, Tom and Corinne Kerrigan, 10 years of dedicated work. They don't get paid. It's their passion, and they give back so much. And they have fed so many kids and kept them fed through the school year and now the summer. And so the things that happen sometimes in our community are done by folks who don't get paid but have such big hearts, and that's a lot of our older adults. And I just think when we take a moment and recognize this and the contributions and the strengths and the great things people bring to our community, it's, again, as we talked about, the tapestry, all these different backgrounds, and it's also different ages or experiences, and it's so important to recognize that and celebrate that. So really excited every year we do this. I will be sad to not be there, but just know I'm there in spirit, and just know that the work you do is so important. And I know you take care of a lot of folks, and your work is not always seen, but you support a lot of great individuals who are helping older adults in our community, which is a growing, larger demographic in our community. And we really need to put some highlights on, or focus on, how we're going to help support those folks as our population grows older in Larimer County. Appreciate you both being here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Nicole and Katie, for being here and the work that you do. We really appreciate that. As Commissioner Shattuck McNally says, this is a growing population. I'm soon to be part of that population. But really great to recognize the work that older adults do in our community. I was thinking, when we're reading the proclamation, of a story that I just heard about a friend who is a retired physics professor and taught a lot of undergraduate classes and was a beloved professor because he was fun and made physics fun. But now teaches at the senior center, and says, I asked this friend who told me that he was teaching at the senior center, and she said, well, he loves it because, first of all, no one's on their phones. And second, they pay attention and are curious. And third, they tell him when they're not interested in the topic, and he can just stop teaching that particular portion. So he liked that forthrightness. Our time is limited. We want to hear what we want to get from you, and so it makes it much more efficient when he's teaching physics. At the senior center. So I thought that was a great story, and it really highlighted some of the things that we're talking about lifelong learning, about staying active, keeping your mind active, all those things that are really important to aging well and keeping people in our community healthy and safe. And so it's great to acknowledge this. I look forward to the awards presentation next week because it's really important. And, oftentimes the awards for caretakers are very poignant, and that takes a big dedication, as Commissioner Shattuck McNally was saying. It requires patience and love, and people who do that well should be honored. And so I'm grateful to be there for that presentation. So with that, we will make the motion, and that is for Commissioner Kvalis.
Oh, yes. I move to approve the proclamation declaring May 2025 as Older Americans Month.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0, and we will stop for a photo. Thank you. We are back this morning for our fourth and final item on our discussion agenda. And this is an intergovernmental agreement with city partners to co-create the state-mandated countywide housing needs assessment. We have Aaliyah Rodriguez here to kick off this item. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. As stated, my name is Aaliyah Rodriguez. I'm the Housing Stability Manager with Larimer County, and excited to be here on this inspirational morning once again. A stable, affordable home gives every community member the foundation to care for their mental health, their physical health, and to age with dignity. So as always, our housing discussion item hits all prior subjects talked about this morning. So we're excited to wrap it up. Today, I'm here to request approval of an intergovernmental agreement between Larimer County, the City of Fort Collins, and the City of Loveland to co-create a comprehensive housing needs assessment, which is now required by Senate Bill 24-174, which passed in 2024 and mandates all local governments to complete housing needs assessments, followed by a housing action plan by December 31st, 2026, and then updated every 6 years. The bill also encourages regional collaboration, allowing jurisdictions to partner on a shared assessment to improve the data quality and reduce duplication. In alignment with this, we're formalizing a partnership with City of Fort Collins and City of Loveland to jointly contract and consult a consultant who will create a county-wide housing needs assessment and provide jurisdiction-specific data and policy recommendations for each of the participating partners. Larimer County received a $225,000 Strong Communities grant from the Colorado Department of Local Affairs. Of that grant, $100,000 of it will be allocated towards this housing needs assessment. And through this IGA, City of Fort Collins and City of Loveland are both contributing $20,000 each in matching funds towards this project. The shared funds enable us to attract nationally recognized consultants to produce a more robust, regionally aligned report. A regional approach gives us a clearer picture of the housing needs across jurisdictional boundaries, which is especially important in our county where people live in one community and work in another. The partnership helps standardize our data, which will be essential as we pursue future funding opportunities and implement coordination of housing policies.
Thank you, Aaliyah. Any questions for Aaliyah on this item? Commissioner Kvalis.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Aaliyah. A question I have is, can you say a little bit more about the reference to housing needs assessment? And as I understand it, we're looking at perhaps the continuum of housing in terms of deeper levels of affordability to market-based. Could you say a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, great question. So this is not an affordable housing needs assessment, which is what we completed in 2021 at Larimer County. This is a comprehensive county-wide housing needs assessment. So we'll be able to see gaps across the housing continuum from the highest needs of our lower income residents to needs of our middle income and through past market rate. It's also going to connect it to our jobs. So that's a big piece of this. What are community members in Larimer County earning compared to what they can afford if they're a renter or if they're a homeowner? And it's also going to look at water needs across our county as well, which is a huge piece of our development pipeline. What can we develop based on what water we have available? So it's very comprehensive. And also due to this partnership, we're able to incorporate a more robust stakeholder and community engagement process through this as well. So our community will be invited in to be a big part of this and share what they're actually experiencing to shape those policy recommendations.
May I do a quick follow-up, please? No, thank you. That's really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, you mentioned in your presentation about the fact that a lot of folks commute to their jobs. Will this comprehensive regional housing needs assessment also highlight the nexus between transportation and where folks live? And can you say a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so that was listed in our request for proposal for a contractor to recognize that correlation and explore how it impacts our future plans. They're also going to talk about how remote work has impacted housing availability when more people are working from home and living in different communities.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
First, just want to say thank you. I enjoyed your presentation at the Neighbor to Neighbor event and how you talked about the money that the commissioners allocated for that housing stability program and all of that. So appreciate the education part you did. And I heard Commissioner Stevens, I heard that you also had made a very good comment. So I wanted to share that with you as well. But I wanted to just say, I think this is a regional issue. And I think by fostering collaboration against our jurisdictions, because really, housing really doesn't know borders, just like natural disasters. It doesn't care about lines and maps and things. And I think we can really leverage resources and the expertise, such as your expertise, to address this housing continuum that we need to look at. We want to also encourage folks to have home ownership as well as just other housing needs. And we have, just as the Older Americans recognition today, we have a lot of older adults that are trying to figure out what's next and how they navigate all these things. And I got a lot of questions at my community conversation, Common Grounds, from older adults who came in that are single now and are widowed, and just how they're going to navigate the future. That's how it got to be talking about taxes and behavioral health and housing, and it's all connected. And I think we have some shortages, but also I think we could do this innovatively, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what this kind of the outside the box thinking ideas we have. And I think this is really going to align and create kind of our goal of being a more inclusive community and recognizing diversity and how we need to look at that overall and be a more resilient community because of that. So you mentioned, and I'm glad you brought the 2021 study, because I remember that because that was one of our first year as commissioners, and that study was a lot happening. So here's my first question. That had some interesting insights, and I know things have changed, but that also some things haven't changed, a need for housing. So I'm wondering how we will take some of that, because we paid for that in the next assessment as well, take some of that and not just kind of forget what we kind of learned from there and kind of attach it, or will the consultant have access and be able to kind of integrate it or bring those insights into this new, that's my first question, to this new assessment.
Yeah, so absolutely, that again was part of our RFP, recognizing the work that's already been done and building off of that. So they'll have access to not just our affordable housing needs assessment, but our partners as well. So that's the goal of stopping this fragmentation. So they're going to see ours, they're going to see Fort Collins, they're going to see Loveland, and then building something all together based on, that groundwork.
That's great. And you mentioned Fort Collins and Loveland. I know it's not part of the process, but Wellington just did a pretty comprehensive housing needs assessment. I think it would be interesting to make sure we're thinking about that. And I've read through that assessment. It was a good one, and it certainly recognized what needed. But I don't, I'm hoping the town's paying attention to that. But I think they are. So I'm glad to hear that. The next question is, you mentioned 100,000 of this is going towards this contract, but then the award was 250. So what's the other money, just for the public, in case anyone's doing the math? What is the rest of the money for? And then I have one more question after that, Madam Chair. Thanks for your.
So the remaining 125 is going to hire a vendor to help with our transfer of development units program in our community development department.
That's what I figured, but thank you for reminding me of that. So my next question is probably a loaded one. I'll just say, this is all great, and getting partners to the table, important partners, and we can't do this alone. We know, and housing is a very complex multi-approach, and I think this will be very innovative to kind of look at how we can look at this through a new and more collaborative partnership lens. But implementation across a whole county would take money, and I don't know what that looks like with other partners, municipal partners, having the funds or resources to implement this inside their municipal borders. So has that been a conversation about what happens next? Because think there'll be some pretty, I'm excited, I'm hopeful there'll be some pretty innovative and actionable things to do, but I don't know what the next step is for trying to fund it's always the implementation, right? And the funding. So I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that landscape looks like as it's been changing recently.
Definitely. And I think that's a concern of all of us in this work, right? And again, that's part of, we were able to be very robust in what we were asking for in this report. And there is a specific ask to dive into funding availability to continue the work. Also, keep in mind that this is a countywide assessment, but through the contributions of our partnership, they will get their own recommendations for policy and carrying this forward. Along with Larimer County, we will get our own recommendations for how to support unincorporated Larimer and Larimer as a whole. So the benefit of us coming up with those recommendations all together is that they'll be related, but recognizing that we all have a different part to play in this. So.
I'm even more excited now. So thank you for answering my questions. I just have to commend you for well done on this. I'm super excited to see how this progresses, and thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This is really important. I mean, even if we don't have the funding, we need to know what we need when funding is available, right? And so we don't know what partnerships come forward and what they look like. Maybe the private sector invests more. I know for the middle income housing project that's going to be happening on North College, that was some creative funding that blended Urban Renewal Authority funding and some private dollars, and so funding can look different on different projects, but really important to know what our needs are, and just so I think this is really important. This is great. I'm glad we're working together on this because this needs to be done countywide. My question is, how do we get at, when we're talking about jobs, and how do we get at the folks that maybe aren't in our community that would like to be in our community, that work here but maybe live in Weld because of the affordability in Weld? Because I hear that a lot. Teachers, live in Severance or Greeley and commute here, or other folks. And so is there a way to figure out some of those folks who maybe would like to live in our community? Because to me, that those are people that we want in our community. We don't necessarily want our teachers having to drive that far. It's not great for the climate. It's not great for them to be on the roads. It leads to congestion and stuff. How do we get at those kind of folks?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point and can absolutely take that forward as the project moves. I also think that will be covered because we're talking about Larimer County workers who are forced to drive till they can afford. And that is a piece of this. So making sure we capture that is important. So can take that forward as the project committee moves forward. Thank you.
That's great. Well, I look forward to this work. I think this comprehensive look at housing in our community. And I hope that, my hope is that it changes the way, we do planning, the cities do planning, right? I mean, let's look at projects and encourage projects that create housing that's not just, clearly affordable housing and workforce housing, but also really housing that meets our demographic needs, right? I mean, there's a lot of seniors, there's a lot of young people are maybe not getting married later, not having as many children. I don't feel like we have the housing to fit that right now. And so, in sharing this, it's great to share with the communities and have them change their planning processes, but really the builders, honestly, and the developers of we no longer need, McMansions of 5,000 square feet on 3 acres. What we need is density around transportation and smaller housing footprint that uses less water and less energy. So, how do we, this is more rhetorical than having you answer it, but how do we get the developers and builders to start thinking about building in a different way? And how do we encourage that in our planning departments, I think is a really big thing, because yeah, it's great to have the information, and then we need to do something with it. So, and I know you know all this, but just throwing that out there in the world. Well, wonderful. I'm excited about this project, and I hope you are too. And I think it's going to be really great to dig down into this. And the deadline, I guess, for creating the assessment is December 31st, 2026. Do we feel like we would have information sooner than that, or yeah?
Yeah, the Strong Communities funding has a tighter timeline than the bill because we've received it before that bill implemented.
Oh,
So
can be handy.
we were ahead of the game.
All right, so we should probably get it sooner than that.
Yeah, the current timeline has a product produced by April, I believe, of next year.
Wonderful.
I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure the end of April is the contractor timeline. So.
Great, thank you. All right. Well, Commissioner Shattuck McNally, I'll ask you to make the motion if no one else has any other
Certainly.
questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm very happy to make this motion. I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement relating to the state mandated housing needs assessments.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner.
Just a quick shout out for Aaliyah Rodriguez. As since you've come on board, when you're having fun, you lose track of time. But you've also contributed to the county's role in this space. I think that's been a bit of a game changer as well. So you've brought a lot of experience, lived experience, expertise, all manner of things. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Aaliyah. All right. There's a motion on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. All right, thank you. So we'll move on to the county manager update.
Thank you, Commissioners. I did a lot of internal coordination. As I'm looking at my calendar, I'm realizing just how many meetings I did have last week. I also did meet with our District Attorney, Gordon McLaughlin. We meet quarterly and have great discussions about budget needs and space needs and those kind of things. I met with Loveland City Manager, Jim Thompson. We had a very nice discussion about the collaboration between the county and the city of Loveland. He's new in that position, and I think this kind of collaboration always surprises new managers when they come to town, and it is refreshing, I think, for them and for us as well to be able to nurture those relationships. I met with Fort Collins Downtown Development Director Matt Robinall, and we have ongoing discussions. We have great partnerships with the DDA. You serve on the DDA, Commissioner Stevens, and so we're deeply connected with their work and how they support Fort Collins downtown very actively, including things like low-income housing as a new project area. And then probably the most exciting thing I did last week was I got to kick off a meeting of about 50 local experts for the, I'm going to read this so I don't get it wrong, sequential intercept model mapping process. So 50 folks came together at the request of Emily Humphrey, who is our Community Justice Alternatives Director. This is part of our strategic plan to figure out what the intersections are between behavioral health and the criminal justice system so that people who are justice involved and have behavioral health issues are handled in a specific way that doesn't exacerbate the problem or create more criminal justice involvement because of their behavioral health concerns. People in the room committed 2 full days to this work and stayed both days. In fact, ordinarily when you walk into a meeting, you see a few people coming in late. There were only 3 name tags left on the table when the meeting kicked off at 9 a.m., which is quite impressive and I think demonstrates the commitment of our community to this kind of work. So folks from lived experience to law enforcement, folks from our jail were there, practitioners in the behavioral health space. It was really an exciting meeting. You could feel the energy in the room. The consultants who were leading the meeting were very impressed. They said it's been a very long time since they've seen this kind of engagement in a community. So shout out to all those folks who came, to Emily and her team for assembling them. We are making progress on this strategic plan goal, I think in important ways that will really benefit the community for many more than the next 5 years to come.
That's great. Thank you. Any questions or comments for Lorinda? No. Well, thank you for your work and thanks for that work on that. Yeah. What's the acronym for?
SIM.
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 Okay. So we're building a different kind of Sim City, I guess, here. But yeah, that's very important work to figure out, those what factors into that, behavioral health becoming criminal activity, and how do we prevent that in our community. I'm glad so many people were engaged. That's what. So we will move on to commissioner activity reports. We'll start with Commissioner Cavalis.
I do not have anything to offer since I was away on family holiday last week.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to start with, I mentioned it earlier before, but on April 29th, I mentioned Kids Pack earlier. Kids Pack, I went out to the Subaru Awards. Every year, Share the Love campaign for Subaru hands out a check. They offer, as you buy a new car or something, you can donate certain things to Share the Love. They almost $40,000. So over the last 10 years, Subaru's almost over $400,000 donated to Kids Pack to feed folks. And I just wanted to give that shout out. It's a labor of love, like Share the Love, really. And it was great to have all the employees there and the owner of the dealership and how passionate and supportive they are. And I want to thank Ann, Tom, and Corinne Kerrigan, and all the volunteers showed up for a big group picture. And it was such an inclusive event, and having the Thompson School District representation, because this is the feeds students throughout the Thompson School District. And folks, these kids don't have to apply to qualify. This is just nominations to their teachers if they think kids are going hungry, in these very respectful and dignified way of getting bags of food for the weekend home to children to take home and feed them so they don't go hungry over the weekends. And I think it's just remarkable work still. And I'm really glad that the county has been supportive and partner in that work over the last few years. We had Commissioner Season and I both attended the International Emergency Management course, and that was all day Wednesday, the 30th and the 1st. But at the same time, I want to I'll share about that a little bit. But at first, I also had our in-person, which I had to be hybrid, Colorado Forest Health Council meeting. I'm the chair of the Legislative Council and also on the Prescribed Fire Subcommittee with the Fire Commission for the state of Colorado. And I had to present about our legislative work and fortunately our big workforce 4-H bill to get youth involved with pathways to land stewardship and firefighting and working in land management and all those pathways is really important. That got a strike below and kind of gutted a week ago. Came out of a committee, and I was quite surprised. So we're going to have to go back to the drawing board and work on that, because this workforce is a huge component, along with funding for mitigation and dealing with biomass. And I feel like, as Larimer County, we are starting to address each of those legs of the stool, which is wildfire mitigation and wildfire resiliency for our communities, since we're at high risk here in Larimer County. And I'm really glad that we're making progress. We also approved which I couldn't be as involved with the discussion, but I did a thorough read on the 30-year forest health vision for the state of Colorado, and it's a really great document. And then I presented along with Katie McGrath-Novick from CSU about the prescribed fire recommendations, and some of that is helping with permitting for air curtain burners, which we see a lot of use here in Larimer County. So I just wanted to share that. Really good work and recommendations, and I'm really grateful and proud to be part of that. But our training for emergency management was at our Office of Emergency Management in Johnstown, and we had a packed room. There was way over 100 people there from all the different municipalities, and we had a policy group that met and appreciate the partnership and work from Estes Park. They were well represented, and the City of Fort Collins and Loveland. And then with Commissioner Stevens and I, along with Leslie Ellis, and Amy and other folks, I'm just really proud of the work that all those people coming together to work on this training and intense training. And we certainly felt the stress and the pressure there. Commissioner Stevens is like, oh, we got to make decisions, move. So it's really good to go through that and work on collaborations. And then there was a debrief on what we can do better and what plans do we need to make now? Where subgroups do we need to work on? And I really enjoyed the process. And certainly we're looking at a larger, more inclusive, maybe policy group. And I just want to thank Cole Parrott and Lori Hodges, Josh, Camille, Lauren, everyone in the office, and Ricardo was there too. The work that they did and to help bring this all together and quickly organize it, along with the Sims team that they brought, that helped bring this scenario and the new dashboards and the new information. I think it's unprecedented in the state of Colorado. It's just outstanding. I wanted the public to know, every time we have a natural disaster, which is unfortunate, we learn and get stronger and resilient as a community. And this is because of these hard work, dedicated folks who are subject matter experts. And we are so fortunate to have this outstanding, amazing Office Emergency Management team who works with our Sheriff's Office and our emergency services and all the fire departments and law enforcement and all these communities. And if it is one team working together as a whole, and I cannot say how impressed and proud I am of all the work that they did together, and it was well spent time of 2 days, and feel very fortunate to be a part of that. So I wanted to thank them all for the great work they did. We had some CCAT meetings. We're at the end of session. I was testifying on one of the home insurance bills. I want to just shout out to everyone that I'm doing a wildfire home insurance wildfire resiliency town hall on May 27th at the Office Emergency Management building in Johnstown. Please go online to look at that. But the insurance commissioner for the state of Colorado, Michael Conway, is coming up to speak about homeowners insurance and the connection between wildfire and hail and what we're doing here in the state of Colorado and working as counties together to try to address that. And so, because that is a big, also I think important thing that it addresses and impacts housing, is housing affordability because of insurance rates. So it's something we need to tackle and look at. And so I'm really grateful he's coming up. So it's 5:30 to 7. Don't miss it. He's very fortunate that he's going to come up and speak for us. And I hope my colleagues will join me. It'll be a good discussion. We're also working on some things with the federal government. There's a Fix Our Forests Act, and we had some important discussions with the staff from those group, just talking about some concerns we have as counties. And I appreciate the opportunity from both Senator Hickenlooper office and Senator Bennett's office to be heard and have a really robust conversation about this federal Fix Our Forests Act, which is actually in committee today and DC. So it's something really important for the future of our youth force and health. I did attend some May Day ceremonies on the 1st and 2nd with some community partners and over the weekend as well. And I want to thank the organizers, the school, the teachers, and other workers from SMART and other folks who did celebrations for May Day. It's a really important for workers' right and recognizing International Workers' Day. And I'm very proud to stand with all of those workers as we try to take care of our working families and support efforts to support our working families and our communities. It's really important. On May 3rd, I had my Common Grounds in Loveland. I had I tried a new location. It was really well received. We had a lot of folks come and wanted to learn about property taxes. I walked them through the Budget Explorer. I didn't bring enough Office on Aging guides, advisory guides. I'll have to remember to do that more. Behavioral health, lots of great questions, and I appreciate everyone that attended. I had some good conversations that I'll be following up on, and appreciate the community coming out. It's really great to get just to have conversations, whatever they want to talk about. Thankful to be able to volunteer with the Coalition for the Poudre Watershed on May the 4th, which was also May the Forest be with you. May the 4th be with you. But we went up to almost way above Rustic, up the Poudre Canyon to plant one of the first really heavy impacted areas from the Cameron Peak fire. And we were in the burn area and planting trees, over 450 trees, different species this time, and on a private land. They've been opening to get reforested up there. It's really important work. And I wanted to just thank the Coalition for the Poudre Watershed, their staff, and the training and the work they do. They've planted 40,000 trees in the last 4 years. I've been volunteering 3 out of those 4 years. And they don't just plant trees. There's also important, there's a 78% survival rate. That's impressive. And that's because when they take us out, they really teach people how and where, and the really careful way to plant these trees. And it's making a difference. We can't grow those quick enough, but it's so important. There is some past flowers and other things growing, but the trees aren't coming back because of the intensity of the Cameron Peak burn area. So I just want folks to know a lot of people are working very hard and we were working on a steep slope that day. I was very glad I didn't take a tumble, but it's important work, and I wanted to just shout out because it's impressive to see that a lot of these trees, even from 2 years ago, they're thriving on that hillside, and we were planting more in between. And I got to see, unfortunately, a 600-year-old tree that had succumbed to the Cameron Peak fires, survived all these other fires, but to be able to touch and look at and see the rings on a 600-year-old tree in our canyon just was a sobering reminder about kind of the history that came way before us and how we need to really take care of our forests. So, and again, I mentioned the teen health care fair in Loveland. That's the first one they'd done in Loveland. They had about 250 youth. There was lots of activities and resources, and appreciate the work that was done there, and getting into other parts of the county to share with that. So, just a great work, and appreciate a lot of those partners today, because we can't do this work alone, and we have some strong partnerships, and that's why Larimer County is so wonderful of all the people that work so hard to take care of our community. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll be brief. As Commissioner Shattuck McNally said, we had the training with emergency management. That was really beneficial. It was really great to be there with other communities and really simulate what it would be like to bank policy during a disaster. We've had that experience before, but Commissioner Shattuck McNally is absolutely right. You still feel the same anxiety you do in, how do we protect our community and how do we make good policy during this time? So it was really great to model that. On Thursday, we had the North Front Range MPO meeting. I will say that our executive director is leaving us, moving to Canada, and so we will be hiring a new executive director. So that was a lot of the talk that happened at the MPO meeting around our process for recruiting a new executive director for the MPO. On Friday, I had the Regional Air Quality Commission meeting. We talked about indirect source. Well, first of all, we talked about how Colorado has voluntarily considered itself in the severe non-attainment area. The benefit of doing that, CDPHE did that, which is the Colorado Department of Health and Environment. Took that step so we wouldn't get penalized with losing federal highway dollars, and it gives us a little more time to be in attainment for the non-attainment area with regard to low-level ozone. It gives us till 2032 to see if some of the programs that they've been implementing over the years will kick in and really help with this non-attainment. We also talked about the indirect source rules, so possibly having rules on places that build big entertainment centers or big warehouses that drive a lot of traffic. How can they be responsible for maybe not driving as much traffic to their business and maybe working on emissions on their end? And so I don't know what that will look like. That hasn't been decided, whether that'll be a voluntary program to try to make sure that they encourage people to use other forms of transportation to get to these big facilities. But we'll continue to work on that. And I guess one thing with voluntarily becoming in severe non-attainment is not only do we have the extra time to work on it, but the state implementation plan that the RAC is creating will not include control measures. And we will continue to work on sort of a blueprint of control measures, which include things like vehicle emissions budgets and this indirect source kind of work that we're doing. So that work continues. On Saturday, I attended a Little Shop of Physics fundraiser. Just want to do a shout out for Little Shop of Physics and anybody who's doing science education in a world where science and education seem to be on the chopping block. They are certainly continuing their mission of taking science to young people and getting them excited about science. They do work on reservations and work in low-income schools to really help kids understand and get excited about science. And then finally, yesterday, I attended the Justice Necessary Period Palooza. This was for getting period products together for young people across the county to disperse out to schools, and the schools came to pick them up. So There were little packages that kids can take home for the summer or for the week that they can grab from the nurse's office and have period products, because we know that period poverty is a real thing and that the products are very expensive. And we did our part as a county by taking away the tax from those products, but that doesn't, they still remain fairly expensive for young people who are on their period. And so this was a really great event that brought a lot of women and volunteers together to do this work. And I took a picture of the boxes that were just, Estes Park schools were just picking up their boxes as I was leaving. And there were probably 20, 30 boxes that they were bringing up, and met the nurse from the Estes Park schools. And she was pretty excited about getting those products back up to Estes Park. So they had the trailer that usually takes the band kids' instruments up, and they were loading it with these period products. So it was really great to see that schools in our community are really using these taking advantage of this program and getting these products to kiddos who need them. So that was a great, inspiring event, and that is all for me. So with that, it is 10:51. We have no other business and no legal matters, so we are adjourned. Thank you.